Hi, my name is Sharon Shepard, and I am a primary teacher at Parkside Community School in Austin. I have been a Montessori guide for about 15 years, and during that time, I have had the privilege of working both as an assistant in the classroom and as well as leadership roles, both within the classroom and with a team at school. I'm also the mom of 4 children who are their initial primary education was in Montessori, so they all attended Montessori from the ages of 3 to 6, and then later attended Texas public schools. So my Montessori career began when finding out about Montessori for them as a mom. I'm applying for the position at Magnolia Montessori for All to be a lead guide, again for the primary age child 3 to 6, because I am interested in serving a different community of both children and families. Traditionally, Montessori schools have been private schools in the U.S. and often quite expensive. And the idea that Magnolia Montessori for All provides a public option Montessori is particularly appealing, so that I can serve a more diverse group of people, of children. I'm interested. Reasons for thinking of leaving my current position at Parkside is that it has been rewarding and have had the opportunity to work with many different families and sometimes multiple children within the same family. And at the same time, I look forward to being able to put the Montessori philosophy into practice with a group of children and families who might not typically be afforded the luxury of that type of education. So I feel like I have helped grow the primary program at Parkside thus far and am interested in trying something different within a different context, if you will. My education, I began primary training at the Montessori Education Center in Arizona in 2003, and it was a summer program, so I went for 3 summers, 6 weeks at a time, and in 2005 received my certification as a primary trained guide. In the spring of 2015, I started working to actually finish my bachelor's degree at Concordia, and am looking forward to having my graduation from Concordia in spring of 2018. That's exciting. Since the fall of 2003, I've worked at Parkside both in the capacity as a teacher, as a lead teacher, as a co-teacher, and as an assistant in the classroom. Prior to that, I worked at my children's preschool, Escuela Montessori, which was a small school on the southeast side of Austin that served specifically low-income children in that neighborhood. And in that capacity, I worked in the office and was more of a support person administratively versus actually being in the classroom. One reason that you should hire me for the lead position at Magnolia is that I offer a different perspective, which is that I have come from a Montessori experience that is a different side, if you will, of the program in terms of providing education for families who have the capacity to pay a significant amount of tuition for their children. So that is just a very different perspective in terms of teaching and dealing with families in that way. I've also had the opportunity to be a team player, not just with the parents of the children in my community, but also in the primary primary group of teachers as well as the whole school that serves children up to 12 years of age, and of course working with administration. A few years ago, the school relocated, and so that was a big undertaking, moving from Central Austin to South Austin, and we saw a significant change in the demographic of the families that we have been serving. So I've played an integral part in that transition as well. Definitely communication is one of my strong suits. I'm able to convey information both from a pedagogical point of view as well as from the social, emotional, developmental point of view regarding children with their parents. And through semi-annual conferences, keeping the parents informed of what the children are working on, but also within my colleagues and being able to brainstorm and come up with inventive ways to overcome challenges that we might be facing as a whole school community, or maybe more specifically within the classroom with a specific child who might be having academic challenges or some behavioral issues. One of my weaknesses, I would say, is sometimes prioritizing. I have a tendency to find all of the things on my to-do list, if you will, as highly important, and I want to have them all achieved, and I want them all achieved now or 5 minutes ago. And so sometimes I am struck by having to really pare down the list or evaluate, okay, these are the things that need to be done right here, right now, versus, what could maybe be put off until the end of the day or until tomorrow. And one way that I'm working to overcome that is I've started using a daily calendar and planner to help keep myself on task, if you will, and to follow through and make sure that small things don't fall through the cracks. So while I do see it as a weakness, it's also an opportunity to grow that and to make changes and to seek input from other people into how to handle that more effectively. My goals on the next 5 years, I definitely would like to be a member of the Magnolia staff. Again, I see that as a great opportunity to provide an educational opportunity for a diverse population. I could definitely see myself considering graduate school. In education also, honestly, I look forward to receiving my bachelor's in the next 6 to 8 months, and while the idea of achieving my master's is somewhere on the to-do list in the next 5 years, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. My biggest achievements so far, for sure, professionally, receiving my Montessori certification from the Association Montessori International. It's the international organization that Dr. Montessori herself founded, and that was a challenge to leave my children and my family each summer that I did to be able to attain that certification. Personally, my greatest achievements would absolutely be my children. I've had the pleasure of being able to be their mom and support them and guide them as they grow into their own individual selves, and that's definitely one of my greatest achievements for sure. My oldest daughter will be graduating with her bachelor's degree this month, actually. My older son has recently joined the military reserves and is away now in basic training for that. My younger son will graduate high school in June, and later that month will head to basic training for the regular Army and my youngest daughter will graduate high school next spring, and in the fall will go away to culinary school. So they have already begun the early phases of their lives and their future education and development. So that for sure makes a mom proud. A good boss or a good colleague to me is someone who is open to new ideas and opinions and being able to engage in dialogue about both the things that are working within the work community as well as the things that maybe could use a little bit more refining and polishment. I think that it's also important to have opportunities within the work environment to connect to those colleagues in a way that's maybe a little bit more personal and that creates a bond, if you will, among the staff members. I think that creating that sense of cohesion in a more personal way only leads to the benefits professionally. I'm definitely motivated by the children themselves that I work with. It's important to me to help each one of them grow into their greatest selves. They are inspiring beyond belief, and it is a privilege to be able to work with each of them and help them address their individual needs that they, at the ages of 3, 4, and 5, maybe you're not even aware of, but to help give them the language to navigate emotional situations and also create those academic foundations. Those factors definitely drive me in working with children. My salary expectations, I would expect to begin the conversation about salary in the $50,000 range. I feel that my educational background as well as my experience warrants that level of salary. I'm certainly open to conversation about that and inclusion of other benefits that might not directly be financial, such as health benefits or retirement plans and those sorts of things. I feel like that's a conversation to be had. So certainly interested in discussing that. I would like to be able to finish out this current school year with my classroom. So I would expect to begin this position next fall or over the summer. It would be important to me to finish out the year with this group of children that I'm currently working with and with my current work partner before embarking on a new challenge with Magnolia. Certainly, I also am open to dialogue about the specifics of how and when that would happen and trying to negotiate the best case scenario for everyone that's involved. Questions that I would have about Magnolia include what would be something that sets Magnolia apart aside from the public appeal? Is there something that you might explain or identify within the culture of the school community that makes it different? I would also ask how long the average teacher has been there and for more specific information about class size and makeup. And if there are additional steps to the interview process and how long the interview process I could expect for that to take, I'd appreciate having that information as well. In terms of how my education at Concordia has helped prepare me, I would say that there have been significant changes throughout my 2.5 years at Concordia as a student in terms of how we receive information, from whom we receive information. There have been some challenges in that, and even though it has been challenging, the reward will be the completion of this program for sure. And my hope is that in learning to obtain information from administration at Concordia and trying to clarify processes of classes that are needed versus classes that are offered, I hope that my participation in that dialogue would help those people be better facilitators in the future. So it's been a learning experience for sure. So I've enjoyed participating in this interview, and thank you for your time.